Hi everyone, I'm Yuki from International Business.
Hi, I'm Merritt Aljets.
Hi, thank you for coming back to Advanced Business English. Today we are going to talk about Japanese English.
Yeah.
What it means is there is some look like an English word which means Japanese people are using, but it's actually not English word. Huh?
Yes.
And today's word I pick up mansion.
And mansion is an interesting word.
Well, when Japanese people say mansion, actually it is not mansion in America.
Yes, when I first came to Japan, I was told that I was living in a mansion, apartment.
Right. So the mansion means, I think in English, mansion means a huge, big house. Huh?
Yes, a very fancy,
Yes.
expensive, big house is a mansion.
Yeah, and then what Japanese people call mansion is in English it is called apartment. Huh?
Yes, I would say apartment is the better word for
Right.
that. Yeah, and
But in Japan,
English.
in Japan, apartment is a little bit cheaper place rather than mansion. Huh?
Oh yeah, and
Well, the audience will be the people who go to business abroad. When they say they live in mansion, people say, "Wow, you live in a huge house." Huh?
Exactly, and expensive, as you pointed out earlier. The mansions are the more expensive.
Yes. So I think when you go abroad to do some business, it's better you said, "I live in an apartment." Even though it said mansion in Japan, when you talk outsiders, you should say you live in an apartment, not a mansion.
Yes, and even in New York, I think they talk about getting an apartment in Manhattan or someplace.
Right.
They are very expensive. I understand.
Yes. When you say apartment, also when you move to abroad, and then you said you want to rent an apartment, not a mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And mansions I think in England and in America are often out in a large land area,
Right.
surrounded by grassy fields or lawns.
I see.
A lot of extra land around them.
Right.
Not in a city situation.
But when you talk in English, it's better you just call apartment.
Yes.
Well, the living situation in Manhattan become very difficult. Huh? And I have a friend who was looking for an apartment in Manhattan. And then I happened to visit different apartments in Manhattan, and I was so surprised when we went to the real estate. The real estate agent said, "Oh, this place is so safe. There's a murder only every 2 years."
Yeah, that is becoming a problem more and more. And it is something that has to be considered.
Well, to the audience who is watching this, when you go to America and to look for an apartment, you really need to be careful for the place. Some of the places very, very dangerous. It's far much more dangerous than in Japan.
Yes. Oh, yes, I agree there. Especially in the larger cities, but even in the rural ones now.
Yeah, but most of the business people go to large cities Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York.
Yes.
So when you find an apartment, you really need to be careful. Some of the cheap place can be very dangerous.
Yes, if you have a good real estate person, that's important.
Right. But
so
some of the people can just trick you and say, "Oh, this is very cheap," and then they have a murder only every year.
And that is a little scary.
Yeah.
So
the housing situation is becoming a bit of a problem also in Manhattan. Huh?
Well, I think in the large cities it is rather difficult, and especially New York, since it is the largest city. Other cities, like you mentioned, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Oregon, even Minneapolis even has had problems.
Oh, really?
You know, they're having the big trial now about the murder that took place there.
For the people who go to New York, I think probably the best place you need to live is New Jersey, which is a state next to New York, or Connecticut, which is also next to New York. So you can commute to New York, but also you can have a regional place. Like you live in Chiba or Kanagawa and commute to Tokyo, and which is very convenient place and also quite safer.
Yeah, there are definite areas that are that you have to be careful of, and
yeah, and then when you go to New York, you really need to be careful where you live.
And very few people will live in a mansion.
Oh yes, that is true. So you just need to find an apartment, not a mansion.
Yeah, especially if you're just there temporary for a year or two.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And thank you very much for today's session. This is the Advanced Business English course, and my name is Yuki from International Business.
And I'm Merritt Aljets.
Yeah, and see you again next week.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.